The war was over. At least that is what the galaxy believed. Above the broken world of Karos 9, the alien fleet floated calmly in space. Massive ships, larger than human cities, stood in perfect lines. Their lights burned bright against the dark stars, no longer in battle mode, no longer alert. Below them, the planet was silent. Once, Karos 9 had been a human colony. It had oceans, green lands, and cities full of life. Now it was only ash and smoke. Tall buildings had fallen, streets were cracked and empty. Fires still burned, but no one was left to stop them. Humanity had lost this world. Inside the largest alien command ship, the mood was joyful. Alien officers removed their combat armor. Some sat down for the first time in days. Others shared drinks made from glowing liquids. Victory symbols flashed across wide hologram screens. The alien high commander stood at the center of the hall. His voice echoed through the chamber. "Human resistance has ended," he declared. "Their fleets are destroyed. Their leaders are silent. This system is ours." The room filled with loud sounds of celebration. Alien warriors struck the floor with their weapons in approval. Music, deep and powerful, played through the ship. Across the galaxy, victory signals were sent. To allied worlds, to distant stations, to every species that feared humanity. The message was simple. Earth has fallen. The war is finished. Many aliens believed humans were dangerous, but weak in the end. Too emotional, too stubborn, too small. They fought hard, yes, but they broke like all others. Or so it seemed. Not all aliens were celebrating. In a quiet control room deep inside the ship, a young alien sensor officer stared at his screen. His hands moved slowly as he checked the data again and again. Something was wrong. "Commander," he said carefully, turning toward his superior, "we are still detecting human signals." The commander did not even look at him. "Old transmissions, broken machines, nothing more." The officer hesitated. "They are not random. They are organized, short bursts, encrypted." The commander finally turned, his eyes sharp. "Are you questioning our victory?" "No, Commander," the officer said quickly. "I am only reporting." "Then stop. Humans are finished. Do not let fear turn into foolishness." The officer lowered his head. "Yes, Commander." Still, his eyes returned to the screen. The signals continued. On the surface of Karos 9, far below the celebrating fleet, the truth was very different. Deep under the ruins of a fallen city, a narrow bunker remained hidden. Its walls were cracked, lights flickered weakly. The air smelled of smoke and metal. Inside, 23 humans were still alive. They were soldiers, what remained of the Planetary Defense Force. Their armor was broken. Some were injured, some could barely stand, but none of them had surrendered. Captain Elias Ward stood near a small viewing screen. It showed the alien fleet above the planet, thousands of enemy ships, calm, confident, celebrating. "They think it's over," one soldier whispered. Ward did not answer right away. His face was tired, marked by dirt and dried blood, but his eyes were clear. "They always do," he said finally. A young communications officer worked on a damaged console nearby. Sparks flew as he hit the side of the machine. "Captain, the long-range transmitter is unstable. We only get one shot." Ward walked toward him. "That's all we need." The officer looked up, confused.
Sir? Ward looked at the screen again, at the alien ships, at the victory lights. They wouldn't celebrate if they knew, Ward said quietly. Knew what? Another soldier asked. Ward took a slow breath. That humanity never planned to win this war here. The bunker fell silent. Far away, beyond known star routes, something ancient and quiet drifted in the dark. It had no lights, no signals, no visible movement. To the galaxy, it did not exist, but it was listening. Back on the alien flagship, the High Commander raised a crystal cup. Today, we end the human threat forever. Cheers echoed once more. The sensor officer's screen suddenly flickered. For just a second, a strange symbol appeared, then vanished. His heart raced. "Commander," he said again, louder this time. "Unknown energy spike detected. Source unknown." The commander frowned. "Explain." Before the officer could answer, the spike disappeared. Silence returned. The commander waved his hand. "False reading. Continue the celebration." The music grew louder. The officer swallowed hard. On the planet below, the human communications officer finally stabilized the transmitter. "Captain, ready." Ward stepped forward. He removed a small device from his armor. It was old, scratched, almost forgotten, a human signal beacon. Ward pressed the activation switch. The signal was weak, short, almost nothing, but it was enough. The message traveled through space, jumping from hidden relay to hidden relay, through dead zones, through silent routes no alien had ever mapped. It carried no words, only a code, and that code meant one thing. They believe it's over. Ward lowered his hand. Around him, the surviving soldiers waited. No one cheered, no one smiled. They had done their part. Above them, the alien fleet continued its victory display. Fireworks of light burst between ships. Banners of conquest filled the stars. The alien High Commander leaned back, satisfied. "Humans fought bravely," he said, "but bravery is not enough." At that exact moment, far beyond the edge of known star space, a human fleet began to move. Old ships, new ships, ships rebuilt from loss and failure. Humanity had been quiet, patient, waiting, and the aliens never saw it coming.
Long before the war over Karos 9, the galaxy had already learned to fear humans. Not because humans were the strongest, not because they had the largest fleets. The fear came from something deeper. Humans did not know how to stop. Across many star systems, old alien records still existed. Quiet archives filled with warnings, written after battles most species wanted to forget. These records were never shared openly. They were hidden, sealed, and marked as dangerous knowledge. Every one of them spoke about the same species, humans. In the alien command ship orbiting Karos 9, a senior strategist named Vorkal stood alone in a private chamber. The celebration noise from outside did not reach him. He watched a hologram showing human war history. Loss after loss, defeat after defeat. Yet something felt wrong. Vorkal had studied humanity for decades. He had fought them in 3 different campaigns. Each time, humans had been pushed back. Each time, they had lost worlds. And each time, they had returned. He remembered the Battle of the Red Belt. Humans had been surrounded, outnumbered 5 to 1. Their fleets were damaged, their supplies were gone. Any other species would have surrendered. Humans did not. They broke their own ships to build weapons. They used escape pods as bombs. They fought until there was nothing left to fight with.
And when the battle ended, the humans were gone. 3 years later, they returned with better ships and smarter tactics. The enemy never recovered. Vorkal closed the file slowly. "This war feels too easy," he muttered. Across the galaxy, other alien leaders felt the same unease. On the trading world of Solaris, an old alien merchant watched the victory broadcast. He had seen humans before. He had traded with them. He had laughed with them. He turned off the screen. "They are not finished," he whispered to no one. On a distant research station, alien scientists reviewed battle data. Human fleets had vanished too cleanly. There were too few wrecks, too many missing ships. One scientist spoke the thought they all feared. Humans plan for loss. We plan to avoid it. This was the true difference. Humans expected to lose, and because of that, they prepared for it. Back on Karos 9, alien soldiers marched through the ruined streets. They planted banners and marked territories. Some laughed at human symbols carved into broken walls. One soldier kicked aside a cracked human helmet. "Pathetic," he said. He did not notice the camera lens hidden inside the helmet, still blinking softly. In the underground bunker, Captain Elias Ward listened to distant explosions. Alien patrols were close now. Time was running out. A wounded soldier spoke from the shadows. "Captain, what if they never come?" Ward looked at him. "They will," he said without hesitation. "How do you know?" Ward's answer was simple. "Because humans never leave their own behind." The soldier nodded, comforted by the words. Above them, the alien high commander continued to send victory messages. His words were confident, proud, and final. "Humanity has reached its limit. They cannot fight what they cannot survive." But even as he spoke, strange reports began to reach the command deck. Supply ships failing to respond. Long-range scanners showing brief distortions, old human satellites activating by themselves. Each report was small. Together, they formed a pattern. The High Commander ignored it. He had not studied humans like Vorkal had. Long ago, during humanity's first contact war, the galaxy made a mistake. They believed humans would learn fear. Instead, humans learned adaptation. When humans lost ships, they built stronger ones. When they lost worlds, they learned to live without them. When they lost people, they remembered their names. Other species fought wars to win. Humans fought wars to end them. This made them dangerous. In a quiet alien archive far from the front lines, an ancient warning played on loop. It was written by a species that no longer existed. The message said, "Do not corner the humans. Do not celebrate their defeat. If they retreat, it is because they are preparing something worse." No one listened. On Karos 9, the alien sensor officer returned to his station. The signals were back again, stronger this time. Short, sharp, human. He reported it again. This time, the response was anger. "You are seeing ghosts," his commander said. "Enjoy the victory." The officer obeyed, but fear stayed with him. In deep space, the signal sent by Captain Ward reached its final destination. Human commanders stood in silence as the code appeared on their screens. No words, no emotion, only meaning. One human admiral closed his eyes. "So," he said quietly, "they celebrated." Around him, officers straightened. Ships powered up. Lights came alive across a hidden fleet. Humanity had been beaten before. They had been hunted, burned, broken, but never ended. Because the galaxy feared humans for one simple reason. When humans lose, they learn. And when they return, they do not make the same mistake.
Humans never told the galaxy everything. They learned that lesson early. During their first wars among the stars, humans spoke too much. They shared plans, hopes, and warnings. The galaxy listened and then used that knowledge against them. After that, humans changed. They stopped explaining. They stopped asking for approval. And most of all, they stopped fighting in ways others could understand. Far from Karos 9, beyond mapped space lanes, deep inside a region marked as empty, something massive waited in silence. This place was not empty, it was hidden. Hundreds of human ships floated without lights, no signals, no movement. Old destroyers rested beside new carriers. Civilian transports had been armored. Mining ships carried weapons welded onto their sides. This fleet was not meant to look beautiful. It was meant to survive. Admiral Rhea Morgan stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute Dawn. She watched the dark screen in front of her. The only light came from small control panels and human faces. They had been waiting for this moment, for years. The human plan had begun long before the final battle over Karos 9. When the war started going badly, the galaxy believed humans were panicking. Retreat after retreat, world after world abandoned, fleets destroyed on public channels. What the galaxy did not see were the ships that disappeared quietly. They were not lost, they were moved. Hidden stations were activated in deep space. Old shipyards, once closed, came back to life. Even human civilian groups were brought into the plan, though few knew the full truth. Humans called it the Long Shadow Plan. It was simple: lose in public, prepare in private. Admiral Morgan remembered the meeting when the plan was approved. Human leaders sat in silence as reports of defeat filled the room. "We cannot win this war the way they expect," one general said. "So we don't," Morgan replied. From that day on, humanity began to fight a different war. They let alien spies see broken fleets. They allowed enemy sensors to track retreat paths. They even broadcast fake distress calls. Every loss had a purpose. Every defeat sent the aliens closer to confidence, closer to celebration. Back on Karos 9, Captain Elias Ward and his soldiers remained hidden. Food was low, power was failing, but morale was steady. They had done their job. Ward thought about the past, about the message he sent, about how small it seemed. One signal, one code. But that was how the plan worked. No long messages, no speeches, just triggers. Throughout human space, similar signals waited to be sent. Some came from soldiers, some from civilians, some from automated systems buried deep inside destroyed colonies. Each one meant the same thing. They believe we are finished. In the alien flagship, Vorkal studied more reports. The pattern was clearer now. Human satellites activating, navigation beacons turning on, old human defense codes appearing in deep space. "This is not panic," he said quietly. "This is preparation." He requested permission to alert the High Commander. It was denied. "Victory is already achieved," the response said. "Do not spread fear." Vorkal clenched his hands. He had seen this before. When humans went silent, it meant they were focused. Deep in the hidden fleet, Admiral Morgan finally received the signal. Her screen blinked once, then displayed the code. She exhaled slowly. "They celebrated," she said. Around her, officers moved without orders.
This was not surprise, it was confirmation. "All fleets," Morgan said calmly, "begin Phase 2. Engines powered on, still silent. Weapons came online. Old ships, once thought useless, revealed upgraded systems hidden beneath damaged armor. Human engineers had learned to fight with less. Less power, less support, less time. They had designed ships that could survive alone. That was the other secret. Humans did not fight as a perfect group. They fought as survivors. The fleet began to move, slow and steady, like a storm building far away. On Karos 9, alien patrols grew closer to the bunker. The humans prepared for the worst. A soldier asked Ward, "If we don't make it, was it worth it?" Ward looked at the blinking lights on the communicator. "Yes," he said, "because we already won." The soldier frowned. "How?" Ward smiled faintly. "Because they think we lost." Back in deep space, the human fleet crossed a line no alien sensors watched anymore. It was a blind spot created years ago by human explorers. Aliens never updated it. Humans did. As the fleet moved, messages spread across hidden channels. Civilian ships changed course. Human outposts activated defense systems long thought dead. Even human worlds under occupation began to stir. The galaxy had not noticed. Yet. In the alien flagship, celebration continued. Music echoed. Drinks flowed. Plans were made for dividing human space. The High Commander smiled. "Humanity will be studied," he said. "Their failure will teach the galaxy." Vorkal watched him, fear growing. Humans did not teach through failure. They taught through return. In silence, the human fleet accelerated. No warnings, no speeches, no mercy planned. Just action. The plan humans never shared was now in motion, and the galaxy was about to learn why humans never explain themselves twice. The alien celebration reached its peak. Above Karos 9, the massive alien fleet floated without fear. War lights would dim. Weapon systems were offline. Ships moved slowly, relaxed, confident. The High Commander stood on the main deck, watching bright victory symbols shine across space. "This system is secure," he said. "Prepare the final occupation phase." Officers nodded. Orders were sent. The war, they believed, was over. Then the sky changed. It began with silence. Not the normal silence of space, but something deeper. Sensors across the alien fleet flickered. Communication channels cut out one by one. Navigation data froze. A junior officer spoke first. "Commander, we are losing long-range readings." The High Commander frowned. "Interference?" Before the officer could answer, alarms screamed. Red lights flooded the command deck. "Multiple space distortions detected," another officer shouted. "Directly above the planet." The High Commander turned sharply. "Show me." The main viewing screen shifted. Space itself was tearing open. Bright lines of light ripped across the dark sky like broken glass. Energy waves rolled outward. The stars behind them vanished. Then something came through. A ship, then another, then hundreds. Human ships poured out of the rip in space, emerging from hidden jump points the aliens had never mapped. Some were old, scarred by past battles. Others were new, sharp, and powerful. They appeared everywhere, above the planet, behind the alien lines, inside what had once been considered secure space. The alien fleet froze. "This is impossible," an officer whispered, but it was happening. Human ships moved fast, no hesitation, no warning shots, no communication. The first human strike hit the alien command carrier. Its shields collapsed in seconds. Explosions tore through its side. On the surface of Karos 9, Captain Elias Ward looked up to the sky through the bunker's cracked screen. His breath caught. Human ships filled the sky. "They're here," a soldier whispered. Ward closed his eyes for 1 second. Then he smiled. Above them, the alien celebration ended in chaos. Human fighters surged forward, cutting through alien formations with perfect timing. They did not attack randomly. They struck command ships first, sensor ships next. Supply vessels vanished in bright fire. Alien weapons powered up too late. "Return fire!" the High Commander shouted. "All units, engage!" But the alien fleet was not ready. Human ships moved like they had trained for this moment again and again. They dodged heavy fire. They used the planet's gravity. They split into small groups and attacked from all sides. Old human destroyers exploded after ramming alien cruisers. New human drones swarmed enemy guns and blinded targeting systems. The battle was sudden, violent, one-sided. Alien commanders shouted orders, but communication lines were broken. Ships collided. Some tried to flee only to find escape routes blocked. Human fleets had already cut them off. On the alien flagship, Vorkal stood frozen as he watched the data scroll past. "This is it," he said quietly. "This is what we warned about." The High Commander stared at the screen, his confidence gone. How did they hide this?" he demanded. Vorkal answered honestly. "Because humans planned for loss, and we planned for victory." A massive explosion rocked the flagship. Power systems failed. The lights went out. Emergency lighting flickered on. Human voices suddenly filled every alien channel. Clear, calm, human. "This is Admiral Rhea Morgan of Earth Fleet Command. You are surrounded." The message repeated in every known alien language. Outside, the alien fleet was burning. On the surface, alien soldiers froze as the sky above them turned red and gold with fire. Human ships streaked overhead like falling stars. Some aliens dropped their weapons, others ran. In the bunker, the humans watched in silence. One soldier laughed softly, another began to cry. "They came back for us," someone said. Ward nodded. "They always do." Above the planet, the human fleet tightened its formation. No wasted shots, no chaos. This was not revenge. This was control. Alien ships that tried to surrender were disabled, not destroyed. Ships that continued to fight were erased. The message was clear. The war was no longer theirs to decide. On the alien flagship, the High Commander fell to his knees as the final report arrived. "Commander," an officer said, voice shaking, "we have lost command of the system." The High Commander said nothing. For the first time in the war, he understood the mistake they had made. They had celebrated too early. The human fleet now filled the sky above Karos 9. The planet was no longer under alien control. Human banners appeared on communication channels, not symbols of conquest, but signals of presence. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy was watching.
The battle above Karos 9 slowed. Not because the aliens were winning, because the humans allowed it. Human ships held their positions like a closing wall. Every path out of the system was blocked.
Escape lanes were sealed. Jump points were under human control. Alien commanders tried to retreat. There was nowhere to go. On the bridge of the Resolute Dawn, Admiral Rhea Morgan watched the battle feed in silence. Her hands were calm, her voice steady. "Do not destroy fleeing ships unless they fire," she ordered. "Disable engines, target weapons, leave life support intact." Her officers followed the orders without question. This confused the aliens. They expected anger. They expected revenge. They expected extermination. They did not understand what humans were doing. Below, on the surface of Karos 9, alien ground forces began to surrender. Weapons were dropped. Flags were lowered. The sky above them belonged to humans now. Captain Elias Ward led his soldiers out of the bunker for the first time in weeks. The air burned their lungs, but they stood tall. Human landing ships descended slowly, kicking up dust and ash. Medical teams rushed forward. Wounded soldiers were lifted gently. One medic looked at Ward's injuries. "You held long enough," she said. Ward nodded. "We knew you would come." Above them, the alien flagship drifted powerless. Inside, Vorkal stood beside the High Commander. The once proud leader looked smaller now, broken by reality. "They could have destroyed us," the High Commander said quietly. "But why didn't they?" Vorkal answered with a bitter truth. "Because humans do not fight to prove power. They fight to end the threat." Human boarding teams entered the ship. They moved carefully, weapons ready but controlled. No shouting, no cruelty. The High Commander was taken into custody. Human cameras recorded everything. Across the galaxy, the footage spread. Aliens everywhere watched as humans treated prisoners with order, not hatred. Medical aid was given to wounded aliens. Civilians were protected. This confused many species. Humans were supposed to be monsters. Instead, they were disciplined. On the Resolute Dawn, Admiral Morgan prepared the broadcast. "All fleets, hold position," she said. "Begin Phase 3. A galaxy-wide message was sent. Human ships did not shout threats. They spoke calmly. "This war ends today," the human message said. "Not with your destruction, but with your surrender." The Alien Alliance responded with silence. Then, slowly, one fleet powered down its weapons. Then another. Then another. Across the system, alien ships shut down engines and waited. Human ships remained alert but still. This was the other plan. Not total victory, total control. The galaxy watched as humanity did something no one expected. They stopped. In alien history, victory always meant domination. The winner ruled. The loser vanished. Humans rejected this. They disarmed the enemy. They secured borders. They protected civilians. And then they spoke. Admiral Morgan appeared on every major channel. "You believed we were defeated. You celebrated our end." Her voice did not shake. "We allowed you to believe that," she continued, "because your confidence made you careless." The message spread fast. "You attacked our worlds. You killed our people. We will not forget that." Alien leaders waited for the threat. It never came. "But we are not here for revenge," Morgan said. "We are here so this never happens again." The silence that followed was heavy. Even enemies listened. On Karos 9, human engineers began restoring power grids. Medical centers were built. Survivors were found beneath rubble. Captain Ward watched as human flags were placed, not as symbols of conquest, but rescue markers. A young alien prisoner sat nearby, shaking. Ward approached slowly. "You're safe," he said simply. The alien looked up, confused. "Why?" Ward thought for a moment. "Because if we become what you feared, then you were right to fear us." The alien had no answer. Across the galaxy, old warnings were being rediscovered. Messages written by extinct species, records ignored. Now they were believed. One line appeared again and again. Humans do not end wars the way others do. The alien alliance formally surrendered 3 days later, not to fear, not to destruction, to certainty. Humanity controlled the battlefield, controlled the supply lines, controlled the future of the conflict, and then they stopped advancing. That was the final shock, because humans had other plans, plans that did not involve endless war, plans that forced the galaxy to think. In a quiet moment, Admiral Morgan looked out into space. "They will remember this," an officer said. Morgan nodded. They should. On Karos 9, the fires began to fade. The sky grew clear. Humanity had not returned to conquer. They returned to make a point. And the galaxy finally understood it.
The war did not end with fire. It ended with silence. Across the Karos 9 system, alien ships floated powerless. Weapons were shut down. Engines were locked. Human fleets remained in position, calm and watchful. No cheering, no victory songs, no celebrations. That alone shocked the galaxy. On many worlds, alien leaders gathered in emergency councils. They replayed the battle again and again. The sudden human return, the perfect timing, the controlled response. One truth became clear. Humanity had never truly been defeated. They had chosen when to disappear and when to return. On Karos 9, recovery began. Human engineers repaired water systems. Medical teams searched the ruins. Survivors, human and alien, were pulled from the wreckage. Captain Elias Ward stood on a hill overlooking the broken city. The air was still heavy, but life was returning. A human officer approached him. "Sir, alien commanders request a formal meeting." Ward nodded. They're ready to listen now. The meeting took place aboard the alien flagship. Once a symbol of power, it now floated quietly under human control. Alien leaders sat across from human representatives. No chains, no threats, just reality. An alien elder spoke first. His voice trembled. "We believed you were finished," he said. "Why did you not strike sooner?" Admiral Rhea Morgan answered, "Because victory is not about speed, it's about certainty." The words spread across the galaxy. Humanity did not rush to rule. Instead, they rebuilt borders, they restored damaged worlds, they released prisoners once weapons were surrendered. This confused many species. Power was meant to be used.
Humans chose restraint. In alien schools and academies, new lessons were written. Old war records were reopened. Ancient warnings were studied again. One lesson stood above all others: never judge humans by defeat. On a distant alien world, a young student asked his teacher, "Why do humans fight so hard?" The teacher paused. "Because they know loss," he said, "and they refuse to accept it as the end." Back on Earth, human cities watched the stars. The war had cost them much. Millions were gone. Worlds were scarred. But humanity stood. Admiral Morgan returned home, not as a conqueror, but as a guardian. She addressed the people. "We did not win because we were stronger. We won because we stayed human." The galaxy listened. Trade routes reopened, borders stabilized. The alien alliance was reshaped, not by force, but by agreement. Some alien leaders resisted. They were isolated, watched, contained. No more wars followed, because the memory was too strong. Captain Ward remained on Keros 9. He helped rebuild the colony. He trained both humans and willing aliens in defense, not domination. One evening, an alien child asked him, "Are humans afraid?" Ward smiled softly. "All the time," he said. "We just don't let fear decide who we are." That answer traveled far. Across stations and starports, alien travelers spoke of humans with respect. Not fear, not hatred, respect. The phrase became common across the galaxy. Do not corner a human. Not as a threat, as advice. Years later, historians would mark the Battle of Keros 9 not as humanity's greatest victory, but its greatest lesson. Humans showed the galaxy something new, that strength did not always mean destruction, that victory did not require cruelty, that survival could be planned. The final record entered into the galactic archive read, "Humans are not the fastest to fight. They are not the strongest to strike, but they are the hardest to end." And beneath it, a final warning. If humans retreat, let them go. If they fall silent, be careful. And if they return, do not celebrate too early. Above Keros 9, the stars shone clearly once more. Human ships slowly departed, not in victory formation, but in quiet purpose. The galaxy watched them go and remembered.